Good evening and welcome to your nation station, DBS Radio. And of course, it is Standards in the Spotlight. It is the 11th of November 2024. I am your host for this evening. My name is Joseph Fadul. Welcome to another very wonderful, informative and educational edition of Standards in the Spotlight right here. Of course, this is a program brought to you by the Bureau of Standards. I'm just the host this evening, and of course we have three wonderful guests, one in studio and of course two joining us virtually on our platform right here. We're also streaming through our social media platforms of Facebook and YouTube. And of course, tonight's topic is quality assurance, Dominica's quality infrastructure. Three very, very competent guests, one in studio and of course, as I said, two virtually joining us. Let me introduce our guests this evening. Guest number one, Miss Caren Casimir, a technical officer, Quality Management Systems at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. She is in studio here. Joining us virtually is Mr. Stephen Farquharson, Technical Officer for Accreditation and Conformity Assessment at the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality. And of course, that's shortly known as QROSQ. And of course, our third guest joining us virtually, Dr. Yvette Castell, Acting Chief Executive Officer all the way in Jamaica, and of course she is the Chief Executive Officer acting of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, or JANAC. They are our guests in studios and virtually joining us for this wonderful, wonderful and informative edition of Standards in the Spotlight right here on your nation station, DBS Radio. We come back in 60 seconds to this informative and educational session right here. We're back here with you on Standards in the Spotlight, and of course the synopsis for tonight's breakdown right here for this very informative program. Of course, we're introducing you to quality infrastructure as it relates to accreditation and the role of the Bureau and the regional standards body, of course, in sharing information and guiding interested parties on quality. Of course, we are here to discuss tonight the accreditation of the microbiology lab through JANAC and how this wonderful milestone improves the quality of the lab service offered by the Dominica Bureau of Standards. We'll also talk about the QMS training, which was earlier this year, some of the objectives of the training, and of course the expected results of the training on participants, of course, who did participate in it. We'll also explore tonight how businesses in Dominica can go beyond mere compliance with standards to leveraging quality as a driver to increase their performance, increase and enhance and better their operational efficiency for customer satisfaction. And of course, we are in a competitive market, people. So yes, all of this we're going to be breaking down for the next, let's say, 1 hour or so right here on Standards in the Spotlight. So we are back. And of course, this program is brought to you by the Dominica Bureau of Standards. An interesting program lined up for you. We're diving into an important topic, of course, that affects the quality and competitiveness of businesses across Dominica. We are talking about quality assurance, people. More specifically, Dominica's quality infrastructure. Tonight's episodes, our guests, we will introduce the concept of quality infrastructure. They will share on how it relates to accreditation. Of course, but when you have been tuned into Standards in the program, accreditation has been a very key, big, but important aspect for you out there. It's important that you need to be accredited because, with accredited, you know that you have the backing of something that is certified, and people know that your product is of a top quality, safe, standard product. Of course, the Bureau's microbiology lab is currently accredited for food and water testing. Our guests tonight will share on the Bureau's accreditation experience with the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, or JANAC, and how this milestone contributes to the improvement of the lab services offered by the Bureau. We'll also talk about the quality management system training, of course, facilitated by the Bureau earlier this year, explore how businesses in Dominica can go beyond compliance. Not just keeping yourself at compliance, but of course going beyond that with standards to leverage your quality. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Fadol. Of course, in studio is Miss Caren Casimir, Technical Officer. Good evening to you, Caren. Just pull along the mic a little bit. Just pull it down a little bit. Yes. Okay, we good. Good evening to you, Caren. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Mr. Fadul. I'm fine, thanks. And good evening to the listening public.
Yes, and of course, you are the Technical Officer for Quality Management Systems at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. We also have Mr. Stephen Farquharson, who is joining us virtually. He is the Technical Officer for Accreditation and Conformity Assessment from the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, or CROSQ. Mr. Farquharson, good evening to you. Welcome to Standards in the Spotlight.
Good evening, Mr. Fadul, and to the Dominican public. Thanks for inviting us. Certainly is a great time to discuss this well-meaning topic, and certainly we hope that everything that your public will be interested and informed at the end of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you for, of course, taking the time off to join us live here in Dominica. And, of course, joining us in Jamaica is Dr. Yvette Castell, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, or JANAC. I hope I got it correct. Both of our guests are joining us virtually. Dr. Castell, good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. It is really a pleasure to discuss this very important topic with you.
And of course, thank you for taking time off from your schedules. I know there's a slight time difference with here and Dominica, and you were able to facilitate that to be on board with us right here in Dominica. And of course, we also have Mr. Farquharson joining us as well. So the first segment that we're going to touch on is understanding quality infrastructure and accreditation. So let's start off by helping our listeners, who, of course, we have radio listeners, we have our TV listeners, we're also online on Facebook and YouTube. They may not understand what is quality infrastructure. What exactly is quality infrastructure? As I'm here in Dominica, I'll start off home and then we'll spread out. So, Ms. Casimir, could you explain to us what is quality infrastructure, and why is it necessary for a country's economy, just a country in general, to have quality infrastructure? How does it help the economy? How does it help businesses, the system of businesses? How is that? What is the definition and how does it help?
Okay, Mr. Fadul. So before I start off with the definition of quality infrastructure and the benefits, I would like to inform the public that this week, today, November 11th to the 15th, the entire week will be Quality Week. And quality, yes, International Quality Day will be celebrated actually on the 14th, which is Thursday. So every second Thursday of November, it's World Quality Day. So, and the theme for this year is from compliance to performance. And the theme serves to raise awareness of quality management and encourages companies to use quality principles to go beyond mere compliance and use the system as a means to navigate complexity in the business world. So it really uses the system for business excellence. Okay, so having said that, we can move into the definition of quality infrastructure. What a quality infrastructure really is a system comprising of various organizations, both public and private, along with policies, relevant legal and regulatory framework principles and practices. I know in Dominica we have that notion to think that the Bureau of Standards is the only quality company organization, but it's everyone contributes to quality, including kids. Everybody contributes to quality, and so we want everybody involved. We want everybody on board, and the system serves to support and enhance quality, competitiveness, productivity, safety, health, and environmental soundness of goods, services, and processes. So, like with everything else, there are components to a quality infrastructure, and the components include standardization, metrology, accreditation, and conformity assessment. In terms of the benefits of the infrastructure, the main benefit of the infrastructure is trade facilitation, and that is our real focus as a standards body, both nationally and regionally. CrossQ, our main aim is to facilitate trade. Okay. It ensures compliance with international standards and conformity assessment procedures. In essence, it breaks down the technical barriers to trade, because purchasers are increasingly demanding products and services meet particular requirements. So we need to be able to satisfy these requirements. All right. Also, in terms of the World Trade Organization, we are signatories to the TBT and the SPS agreements. We and in a lot of the other countries around the world. So the TBT, technical barriers to trade, and the sanitary and phytosanitary agreements, which mandates that all technical requirements must be justifiable, transparent, and non-discriminatory, and they should be based on international standards wherever possible. So having a quality infrastructure will prevent our regulators and legislators from developing and implementing regulations that could possibly hinder trade, while also protecting us from unlawful barriers and that other countries may impose on us. Okay. So the agreement basically serves to ensure that standards and regulators do not become barriers to and regulations do not become barriers to trade, and the quality infrastructure acts as a key invisible player to establish the technical framework to ensure that quality is developed and maintained in accordance to the international recognized guidelines. So in essence, properly implemented quality infrastructure, one that is fit for purpose, can serve to be the cornerstone of a thriving society. And this is what CrossQ and the other NSBs, the national standards bodies across the region, is focused on doing, strengthening our QI so we can, trade more freely and reduce those technical barriers.
Of course, trading more freely, but whatever we get in terms of the trade would be of top quality.
That's correct.
All right, so that, let's say, for example, we wouldn't have to say that, hey, you know what, a product coming from this particular country, we cannot bring it in because the quality is not of a particular standard, something like that.
Right.
All right. I know it was a mouthful, but a very informative, very well detailed explanation. Another big term that we heard you mention is accreditation. I want to rope in Dr. Castell on this particular question. We heard the term accreditation, Dr. Castell. What is accreditation? Why does it matter? Because from what Ms. Casimir told us, accreditation seems to be something extremely important. What is accreditation? Why does it matter? As we are speaking about, quality infrastructure, how, for example, is quality infrastructure and accreditation, how are they linked together? Dr. Castell, let me rope you into this particular question.
Okay, all right. Thank you again. So I'm going to be giving you the classic definition, which comes from the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, as well as the International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC. So this standard is called ISO IEC 17000 standard, and the version is the 2004 version, which supplies a definition for accreditation as the third-party attestation that is related to a conformity assessment body, and we'll in the future in this talk call that the CAB. So this third-party attestation related to the CAB conveys a formal demonstration of the CAB's competence to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. And so I'll simplify that for you. Accreditation is basically formal recognition by a credible body that an organization's personnel are competent to carry out specific tasks such as testing, certification, inspection, calibration, etc. Now, accreditation involves a rigorous evaluation process. And as accredited bodies undergo assessments, they do that to ensure that they operate in conformity with international standards, such as the ISO IEC standards, and there's a range of these standards. And these standards cover everything from the quality management system to technical competence of personnel. Now, this evaluation that is done, it includes the organization's facilities, its staff's competence, the equipment and the tools, as well as the processes that the organization undergoes. Now, the CAB seeking accreditation must show that it consistently provides reliable and valid results or services within the scope for which it is accredited. Now, the World Health Organization has estimated that there are some 600 million cases of foodborne diseases, which results in 420,000 deaths roughly annually. In addition to that, there are about 1.7 billion people globally who are drinking feces contaminated water that causes roughly 505,000 diarrheal types of deaths per year. Now, I'm going to use these statistics to give you an idea of why accreditation matters. So, accreditation is going to ensure the safety and quality by helping to prevent or to minimize the risks and confirm that the products or services provided to consumers are safe and of a high quality. And this is especially important for sectors that directly impact safety, health, and the environment. And these sectors include the food safety sector, the healthcare sector, environmental testing, and engineering. What accreditation also does is that it creates market access for exports and it enhances global competitiveness. How does it do that? Because it allows businesses to compete internationally. So whether or not it is for exporting of goods or meeting regulatory requirements or working with partners abroad, accreditation will ensure that your organization is on par with the best in the world. Accreditation also builds global trust and confidence. And what it does is it gives our consumers confidence, our governments, our businesses, and our other stakeholders. It gives them confidence that the services and the products that they are using meet internationally recognized standards. So when you know that a laboratory, such as a medical lab or a testing lab or a calibration lab, or even a certification body or an inspection body is accredited, it means that you can trust that this body has the technical expertise and quality systems that are necessary to deliver reliable results. So you can test in one country and then be assured that you can give the same results or get that same results if the tests is done elsewhere in the world. So here at the JANAC, which is, and I must say, the only internationally recognized accreditation body in the English-speaking Caribbean, serving 11 CARICOM countries, Our mandate is to deliver best-in-class accreditation services to our conformity assessment bodies. And that is our laboratories, such as our medical testing and our calibration laboratories, to our inspection bodies, and to our certification bodies. So JANAC provides technical information and training on accreditation to its stakeholders, and these include our assessors and our personnel who are operating within the conformity assessment system.
All right. You mentioned a very, and I just want to just highlight it, a very important keyword I pull out in everything that you said. Of course, everything that you said, of course, is very important, but a very keyword that you said is trust. Because if someone, or if individuals who are, let's say, purchasing goods, services, or anything like that, if they do not feel, or if they don't know that they can trust what you have as a product or service, that trust compromises a good bit of the quality that is offered. Thank you very much for that very, very, very well put breakdown of accreditation and the relationship that it has with the quality infrastructure that we're trying to have. Ms. Casimir, let me come back to you here in Dominica. We at the Bureau, of course, I know we are accredited for sure. We also do provide accreditation. Share with us how accreditation and quality infrastructure, which we are talking about, share with us how are they related?
Okay, Mr. Fadul. Just correction, we do not provide accreditation services. But in terms of accreditation, accreditation is a key component of the system. It is actually one of the three founding pillars of the national quality infrastructure alongside standards and conformity assessments. In addition to being a component, it really is the guard dog of the system, if you can call it that, as it provides confirmation that the conformity assessment bodies are competent, as Dr. Castell said, to perform required tasks. And since it also includes monitoring through regular surveillance of other components, in a sense, accreditation ensures that the entire process within the quality system are reliable and, like you said, trustworthy. So that is how the whole accreditation and quality infrastructure are related. So it is really the guard dog of the system.
Right, and of course, making sure that everything is well guarded.
Yes.
So that whatever we provide or whatever happens is of top quality, and of course it is of trustworthiness.
Yes, even the auditors that perform the accreditation services are also they have to follow requirements. So they follow the ISO 19011, the guidelines for auditing management system. So nobody really is exempted from the system within the quality infrastructure. So everybody is guarded. Everybody, to ensure that the system is always of quality, everybody has to follow quality practices and guidelines.
Right. You're listening to Standards in the Spotlight right here on DBS Radio. Tonight we are speaking quality assurance, Dominica's quality infrastructure. Our guests, Ms. Caren Casimir, Mr. Stephen Farquharson, and Dr. Yvette Castell. Of course, the topic tonight, as I just mentioned here. Let me come back to you, Ms. Casimir. From a local standpoint, and I want to start to rope in Mr. Farquharson on this as well. But I want to start off from us here locally and then move to Mr. Farquharson. I want to ask, how does the Bureau of Standards here, along with CrossQ, play a role in supporting quality infrastructure, also sharing the guidance, which is of course is very valuable guidance, with stakeholders here in Dominica?
Okay, Mr. Fadul. So CrossQ really performs like a big sister to the NSB, the National Standards Body. So along with all the other member states, they provide guidance. We collaborate on various programs and projects to solidify the quality infrastructure around the region. And like I said, we all have similar goals. It's trade facilitation. And so CrossQ sponsors training. They also furnished our laboratories, both the NCTE, the National Center for Testing Excellence, as well as the metrology labs with equipment. They provide training to our officers. They also assist with accreditation. So they sponsor the accreditation of our microbial lab actually through one of the projects under the 11th EDF program. So they also assisted with the development of our quality policy. It's still in draft form. I think it's supposed to be in cabinet, so it should be passed. As soon as it is ratified, it will be made available to the public. But they also assisted us with that as well. And then there is the CCA, the Caribbean Cooperative for Accreditation Scheme, which facilitates accreditation in the Caribbean through the national accreditation bodies like JANAC, with the assistance of NAFP's National Accreditation Focal Points Officers, which I am the National Accreditation Focal Point Officer for Dominica, by the way. So the scheme was developed to ensure that internationally recognized accreditation services are readily accessible, affordable, convenient within the region. So you don't have to go outside the region. It's right there. So that is JANAC and TTB Labs. So and then the NAFP, like myself, we act as a link between the CABs, the conformity assessment bodies, and the national accreditation bodies such as JANAC. So we provide support and we act as a channel of information on accreditation and related matters to the CABs.
Right. Mr. Farquharson, of course, I want to rope in Mr. Farquharson here. Almost same question, but more from what has been the relationship like CrossQ and the Bureau of Standards? What has been the relationship like? Also, how has that relationship, in your view, helped stakeholders in Dominica improve on the quality of goods, services, and other aspects, improve from CrossQ standpoint?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me start first of all by indicating that the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, our mission is working together to facilitate the growth, resilience, and sustainable development of CARICOM, of the CARICOM through the advancement of an internationally recognized regional quality infrastructure. So we actually look at the broad picture of supporting the member states of CARICOM in building out their quality infrastructure. And by that, we actually facilitate a number of the activities that you heard. Ms. Casimir just indicated a while ago that, in fact, CrossQ supported the Dominica Bureau of Standards in a number of ways. And I'll just add to that to indicate that we ensure that the needs and expectations of quality are met within the CARICOM member state, and specifically in Dominica, by providing, first of all, harmonized regional standards. And by that, what I mean is that we come together as a region to develop regional standards where there may not be any, in some member state may not have a standard for a particular product or service. And together we work to have harmonized regional standard that everybody can agree to and work towards. We also facilitate a number of capacity building initiatives. These initiatives, of course, is to help to support the industries, the players, the stakeholders within the countries in implementing what we call a quality management system. And by that, we're talking about testing, certification, inspection, and metrology, and accreditation. So we contribute to or facilitate a number of these countries to have training activities. And then we also promote the business of quality, the effects, impacts, and contribution of quality within the member states through what we call quality promotions, right? In this, we sensitize our producers, consumers, regulators, even the media on quality and its benefits. So we have held different courses. Of course, we had one in Dominica in May this year, which we'll talk more about later on. And then, we are, matter of fact, we are actually planning to have other interventions in that light. So we are helping to make sure that all understand and are able to implement quality in their own small place of work and engagement.
All right, Mr. Farquharson, thanks for that. And of course, the cross-skewed facilitation with the Bureau right here, really seem to be working hand in hand to ensure that, quality is at top right here in Dominica, and of course, sharing information so that it's not just here in Dominica, but also in the region as well. You're listening to Standards in the Spotlight, and of course, we are going to take a very, very, very quick break. We'll be right back right after this. Back to Standards in the Spotlight right here on your nation station DBS Radio, of course, a program of the Dominica Bureau of Standards. Tonight's topic: quality assurance, Dominica's quality infrastructure. The guests are Miss Caren Casimir, Technical Officer Quality Management Systems right here at the Dominica Bureau of Standards, Mr. Stephen Farquharson, Technical Officer for Accreditation and Conformity Assessments at the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, or CROSQ. And joining us from Jamaica is Dr. Yvette Castell, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, or JANAC. We're moving into the next segment of our program tonight, where we're going to be talking a little bit about quality management systems training. I know earlier this year there was a training. Ms. Casimir, you mentioned that the Bureau through CrossQ, of course, facilitated a quality management system, or QMS training, earlier this year. Tell us about this training. What were some of the objectives? What were also some of the things that you all hope to achieve from the training?
Okay, Mr. Fadul. So in May earlier this year, from the 13th to the 17th, we had a quality management system training on the ISO 9001 standard, which is a globally recognized standard for quality management. The objective of the training was to provide companies and organizations with a foundational to intermediate understanding of the internationally recognized certification standard as a means to encourage the companies to implement the standards at their various companies. So this in turn would assist in improving their competitiveness and the quality of their products and services and increase customers' confidence in their products and services. So we had participants from various companies, both public and private sectors. We had from the fire department, service department, we had from the hospital, we had from Jollies, we had from Fine Foods Inc., NDFD. So it was widespread. Yeah. So the standard, the ISO 9001, helps organizations of all sizes and sectors to improve their performance, meet customers' expectations, and demonstrate their commitment to quality. The requirements define how to establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve a quality management system. The training also comprised of a train-the-trainer component. Okay, so there were 10 persons who were trained on the ISO 9000 standards in an effort to build capacity to improve the competency of trainers on the standard. So we had persons like Miss Mahala Andre, Jomari LeBlanc, Angelique Dorival, and Naomi Bani Sampson from the Bureau of Standard. We also had Mr. Chris Cadet from the Fire and Ambulance Services, Mr. Lloyd Pascal from Dexter, Mr. Erwin Lloyd from the State College, Donald Bocasio from NDFD, and Miss Miguel Cobbett from Fine Foods Inc. I had done the training earlier, but I sat in with them and I guess I did it again, if you want to say that. So these are the list of competent persons on island who can provide information and guideline on this standard. Yeah.
Right. So I want to ask. I just want to ask you a question. Has the public been able to give some feedback as to whether they have seen any improvements in quality from the training that took place back in May?
Well, some of the persons have already implemented the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Gabriel has a bit of something. The Fine Foods has something.
Okay,
so they're still asking questions. But most of the people, I'm not sure if it's because of time constraints or so, or probably lack of proper guidance. But I mean, they can always come to the bureau and ask about the different things, like how to implement, how to go about doing it, because it's not an easy thing to implement quality management system. You have to have a lot of first of all, you have to be dedicated to implement a quality management system. So I think it's the dedication and the time constraint, really.
Mr. Farquharson, let me rope you in on that as well. Were you, of course, a participant in that, Mr. Farquharson?
Sure. I was there live and in living color.
Tell us of your experience here. Some of the things that you shared. Tell us whether or not you were happy, you were satisfied with the objectives, and what things you were happy with, and things that may or may not have needed improving.
Sure. So first of all, the intervention, the training, the capacity building was done with through a consultant that we brought in, and let me say that we were, first of all, very, very happy to partner with the Bureau of Standards in Dominica, and the fact that they were able to bring out, first of all, the diversity of persons, as you heard her mention, Caren, that the diversity of the persons and industries that were participated. We were happy with the commitment of the participants who came. We were happy with the organization that went around the activity in and of itself. And in that intervention, in that capacity building exercise, we were able to share a very extensive overview of the national quality infrastructure and what the quality management system involves, and how that quality management system approach would have helped businesses, or will help businesses to meet the customer expectation in terms of conforming to the standards, understanding what is a standard, what's a metrology, what is metrology, which is the science of measurement. A lot of persons mix it up with meteorology, which is a different thing completely. It helped them to understand the impact and necessity of testing, understanding what it means to be certified and how, you know, the entire quality infrastructure works. But we also, more so, also provided a practical approach to how to implement quality management systems, especially in the micro and small enterprises where, you know, you have a one-man band, sometimes you have the mom and pop organization, but they were able to realize that even at that level, quality makes a difference, and it was possible to implement it. We provided, you know, we discussed the benefits and challenges of implementing a quality management system, as well as, and this was very, very important, examining the cost of quality. And one may ask, what is cost of quality? Well, you have the cost of good quality and the cost of poor quality. So, you know, and just to give an example, when you are implementing, you're producing a product, for example, and that product is a lot of waste, a lot of rework, a lot of time spent, downtime spent, you know, trying to fix equipment and so on, because there are maintenance issues, then that's the cost of poor quality. While, you know, if you implement some kind of a quality management system, then it helps you to identify your risk early in the game, identify, you know, quality inputs, quality efficient operations, etc. And therefore you end up producing a better quality product in a shorter time with less waste. And so, you know, all of that was explained in this training. We also created an understanding of some of the trust issues and how to resolve them. You know, for example, having a taste testing and so on. And there are some persons who may believe that, you know, it is very, very difficult to implement a quality management system. And of course, it is not, you know, you can't just be laid back about it. But of course, we help them to demystify some of the myths, and we're able to show them that, you know, it is possible. It may not be easy, but it's possible. And I think we were satisfied that at the end of the training, that the participants, I think they really left that training with that understanding. And then, as Caren mentioned, the training of trainer, that component was went very, very well. And it was done to ensure that there is ability and capability within the Dominican space to help those persons who would have gotten the training, and to continue to help them to move forward necessary, because we think that there may be more than a few of them who may be interested in actually becoming certified, getting that certificate to show, you know, that they are doing the right thing and conforming to standard. Of course, so the basic objective then was to ensure that everybody had a path to getting, to becoming certified, understanding, you know, the relevance, importance, impact, and cost of their operation in maintaining a good quality system. So we were overall happy with what happened in Dominica, and to the extent that, you know, we are looking forward to continue engagements of that nature with Dominica. Thank you.
So you are saying that Dominica has been left in good hands?
Good hands, definitely.
Wonderful, wonderful. I like that. I like that. I
Definitely,
like that.
definitely.
I like that. I want to rope in Dr. Castell here. Something I want to sort of go back to. I want to kind of circle back to that big term earlier on accreditation. I know Dr. Castell, I'm roping you in here. Kind of circling back to the term accreditation, we talked about it earlier on. I know the Bureau's microbiology lab received accreditation from JANAC for food and water testing. It wasn't that long ago. Dr. Castell, share with us, your accreditation experience with us here in Dominica.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. All right, so the Dominica Bureau of Standards, and in particular the National Center for Testing Excellence that we call NCTE, their microbiology lab, received accreditation to the ISO IEC 17025 standard on September 30, 2022. Now, this was a very significant achievement, not only for the laboratory, but also in the field of food and water testing, because what it meant was that the lab ensures the quality and safety of food and water in Dominica. Now, to be accredited to this particular standard, it's really a rigorous process, but not one that is insurmountable at all. The process confirms that the lab can actually produce valid, reliable, and accurate testing results for the food and water in line with the international standards. Now, I emphasize food and water because that was the scope of their accreditation. So the JANAC accreditation process is pretty comprehensive, and we follow a structured cycle that lasts over a period of 4 years. There are 8 key steps, and these steps are aimed at ensuring transparency, thoroughness, and consistency at each stage of the process. Now, the first stage is pretty much where a client, a potential client, makes an inquiry or wants to get information on how they can be accredited. And this is where the Bureau itself, it expressed its interest in becoming accredited. And so the JANAC provided detailed guidance on what the process would involve in our information package to the Bureau. The second step was the application stage, where the Bureau formally applied for accreditation by completing our application form and stated to us the scope of their services and the standard that they wanted to meet. Thereafter, a document review took place where our team at the JANAC thoroughly reviewed the lab's documented procedures that were submitted, along with the systems and policies documents. And that was to ensure that these documentation aligned with the requirements of the ISO IEC 17025 standard. After successfully addressing any issues or any concerns, any shortfalls that they would have seen based on the document review, we arranged for an on-site initial assessment. And this is one of the most critical steps. And this is where our assessors would go on site. So we would visit the laboratory and we would evaluate the operations, the facilities, the staff competence, the testing processes that they used. And this was done firsthand. So it was a pretty rigorous on-site evaluation. This step was followed by the verification of activities as it relates to the findings that emanated from this initial assessment. The laboratory was required to show that it had addressed these findings or any areas for improvements that were identified during the on-site visit. And on successful completion of addressing the findings, it was then the stage for the accreditation decision to be made. So what we call the accreditation package was submitted to our accreditation evaluation committee for them to review and to make a decision based on the evidence that was provided to them, so that they could determine whether or not the lab met all the necessary criteria for them to achieve accreditation. Then there was the award, because upon a positive decision by the JANAC Accreditation Council, and this Accreditation Council ratifies the recommendation made by the Accreditation Evaluation Committee and said, go ahead, yes, you can award the Dominica Bureau of Standards NTCE laboratory with the ISO IEC 17025 accreditation. And so the laboratory was officially recognized for its competence in food and water testing. Then the final stage is actually over time. So the accreditation is not just a one-time event. It operates over a course of 4 years, where the JANAC would go and each year they do a sample of a part of the system. And this is to ensure that the laboratory was, continuing to undertake its compliance, its conformity to the requirements of the standard. And so that took place over the years 2023 and 2024. And after 4 years, which is our accreditation cycle, a full reassessment will be done to determine if the lab is still in alignment with the requirements of the standard. And this is going to be in 2026, because remember now they were accredited initially in September of 2022. So the public health impact of that cannot be overstated, because that accredited laboratory's work, it plays a crucial role in protecting public health, ensuring that food and water tested in Dominica meets the safety standards, that we are reducing risks, and that we are improving the overall quality of life for the citizens as well as visitors to Dominica. So we at the JANAC, we are justifiably proud to have worked with the Dominica Bureau of Standards to achieve this prestigious award of accreditation. And it speaks volumes about the Bureau's commitment to quality and its role in safeguarding public health. So, as part of our ongoing commitment, we are going to continue to support the Bureau and any other organization in their journey towards excellence, whether it is through training, through reassessment, or through new accreditation opportunities. So together, we are strengthening the quality infrastructure in Dominica. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much, Dr. Castell, and hats off to the Dominica Bureau of Standards for going through, like how you said, the very vigorous process of being awarded that very, very, very prestigious award. Ms. Casimir, I just want to ask you quickly. Dr. Castell mentioned about public health as one of the aspects. One of the aspects from the Bureau's perspective. What does the accreditation mean for quality services that the microbiology provides? She mentioned public health. I'm sure that there are other aspects. This as well is an important milestone. How will and how has this very significant milestone impacted industries and other users of the lab in Dominica?
Okay, Mr. Fadul. So, upon becoming accredited to the ISO IEC 17025, as Dr. Castell said, it has been very rewarding. So much so that we have had regional requests for our services. In addition to that, since becoming accredited, our customers, our clients have been more confident in the service we provide to them, knowing that the lab is now able to demonstrate compliance to international standards. Our entire operation system at the Bureau has greatly improved as well. After each assessment, there has always been some form of improvement for the system. Something like, okay, so there are different findings. You can get non-conformities, or you can get comments, and then Dr. Castell, you can help me. But when there are findings,
concerns.
when there are findings, you get to improve your system. So based on these findings, you have to fix things. So it's continuous improvements for us all along the way, you know. Yes, so this is what having a quality system is really all about: continuous improvement of your products and services. And now that we bear the mark of accreditation from JANAC, this attests to the quality and safety of our service we have provided. It has also greatly improved staff confidence. So the NCTE and the Bureau, by extension, we are very, very proud of our achievements, and we are hoping that other labs and other cabs will follow in our footsteps. But I can tell you, it has greatly improved our confidence. It has greatly improved staff morale, staff team. The NCTE team is wonderful, like great team spirit. Because getting accredited, it's more about, I would say, human resource, because you may have the equipment and you may have all the processes, the SOPs, but if you do not have the unity and the togetherness, it wouldn't work. But I can tell you, the NC team and the Bureau, they are fabulous when it comes to that. Great work effort, great team effort all around.
Wow, that's a pretty strong team that you guys have at the Bureau of Standards. I'm sure Dr. Farquharson, Mr. Farquharson, and Dr. Castell, you know, I'm sure that, you know, hearing, and of course, you know, even they having their experiences here in Dominica, and of course working with the Bureau here, you know, are very proud of what has been achieved. Dr. Farquharson, I want to come to you. You know, we have a lot of businesses here, competitiveness, you know, the word trust again keeps coming back, trust and also accreditation. Mr. Farquharson, for many people, for many businesses especially, you know, meeting standards, you know, it can feel like, you know, you're just ticking off, you know, you just check. It's like a checklist. But we know quality can be much more than compliance. Mr. Farquharson, talk to us about how businesses in Dominica especially can go, let's say, beyond just compliance to make quality like a driving force for them to perform better, for them to increase their performance and their business.
Thank you. A very excellent question. But first of all, let me just step back a little bit to say how proud CrossQ is of Dominica. We got sponsorships through the European Development Fund and to support them in getting that accreditation, and we're very, very proud that they achieved that accreditation. So I wanted to big up our sponsors and to big up the NCTE for achieving, and for JANAC, of course, for providing the service. But let me move right into your question, because it is important for all to understand that customers are not loyal to companies. They are loyal to quality, right? So no matter how good your name is, once you have a product that is not meeting the quality requirements of the customer, they are going to switch. You know, you may be eating a particular product for years, but once you get a bad experience with that product, you begin not to trust that product. And so it is very, very important that quality is built into the framework of your company and its business. And let me also just remind us that, you know, the definition by the International Organization for Standards in its document ISO 9000 definitions, it defines quality as a degree to which a set of characteristics fulfill the requirements for that product or service. And we have to remember that, in fact, you know, there's also requirements for service. It's not only products that we build quality in. It could be, you know, if you're providing a consultancy, you need to build quality into that consultancy. And so implementing and demonstrating that a product or service are of the highest quality is very important, is paramount in gaining and sustaining markets. As we look towards, especially for export purposes, but right on our shelves. In fact, when a tourist come into your country and buy a product, it's actually a form of export. Because if that product satisfies that consumer demand, they may actually be taking it with them, or some of that product with them to their country, from your shelf. And you could also find yourself gaining market, because the demand is growing in another territory. And if you're exporting, you are meeting the established requirements and criteria for the importation of that product. So demonstrating competence in the production and testing of a product, meeting the requirements of the market is building trust in that market, but also allowing you to build your market share, to increase the demand for your product, and of course allow customers to be coming back to you for over and over again. So if the customers are happy, then the business is much more likely to succeed. Of course, I must add that quality is a catalyst for increased competitiveness, for product differentiation, for product safety, and a lot of what Dr. Castell spoke about, about product safety and product utility. Because if I buy a product for a particular purpose, I expect that I'm going to have full utility of that. But you also have to consider all the other aspects of the product. And so quality is very critical in building out, an environment of trust, and also happy customers and delighted customers. And that was one thing we also spoke about during our training, not just making a customer happy, but making them delighted, meaning that you make them, they may buy, say, sugar for sweetening their tea, or to use a mix. But if the service behind that sugar is excellent, then that customer is more than delighted. So it's a whole value chain of quality that we need to meet. Thank you.
All right, so no, thank you very much. I think you even answered my next question, because I was going to ask, in what ways can quality practices lead to benefits, making a company or a business more efficient? How can customers be a lot more satisfied? How can it increase a business's competitiveness? But I think you definitely covered that. And what do businesses now have to do, and the processes that they have to go through to ensure that they have good quality practices to increase their operational efficiency, make sure that their customers are satisfied, and of course, even increase their level of competitiveness. Thanks
let me add to that then.
Yes.
Give a little bit more on that, because you hit a very good point there. It's not only that it's a good thing to do, but it's actually quality in products and services is actually a marketing strategy. Any good marketer it is easier to market a product that is of high quality. But I want to add to what I've said earlier, because as Caren indicated earlier, it allows the process to break down what we call technical barriers to trade. So one of the things that happens sometimes is that a product is sent to an overseas market, and the product sits on the wharf while the country decides to do its own test on that product to make sure that it's not harmful to the consumer or to the customer. And if they have confidence in that product because that product was tested by an accredited lab, or because that product meets a certification requirement, is certified to say a food safety standard or ISO 9000, it is less likely to be sitting on the wall for days, sometimes weeks. It's also building quality into the process also help to, as I said earlier, reduce waste and improve the waste management activities around that product or service. And it increases the efficiency in the operation of producing that product or providing that service. And I keep putting in service in there because sometimes we forget that services also must or should have a quality management system around it for efficiency as well. Because even if you're doing, say, providing insurance for clients, if you want to have a system in place that is best use of time and motion and space and so on. So, it is critical that we build in quality into your marketing strategy of your business. And a lot of people market their products as being certified or accredited. Thanks for allowing me that extra time.
No problem. Any additional information is, more than useful. We're a little bit over time. We have just about 7 more minutes left. Dr. Castell, I want to come back to you kind of quickly right here. For, let's say for businesses, for labs interested in, let's say, pursuing accreditation, what would you say are the first steps? How can they, let's say, engage with JANAC or similar bodies to start their journey, Dr. Castell?
Okay, so if you really want to start the accreditation journey, the first thing that you have to do is to contact us as soon as possible. You can contact us either by calling us at 876-968-7790 or 968-7799, or we have a website that will provide you with an abundance of information. And our email address is info@janac.gov.jm. Just let us know what it is that you want your organization to be accredited for. And of course, we have a team of experts who will take you through the process. And you can be accredited in as little as 4 months or less, depending on how ready you are for accreditation and how quickly you resolve any issues that may come up when we do your document review. Your laboratory or your inspection body or your certification body can be accredited in no time.
Doesn't sound too complicated at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. And of course, hopefully we will have, labs and, other organizations reaching out to you all to, start the process. I will give 60 seconds for Mr. Farquharson, Dr. Castell, and I'll come back here to us home. I have one more question, but I want each one of you all in about 60 seconds to answer the following question. Looking ahead, let's say what additional initiatives or support can, let's say, businesses in Dominica, from the Bureau, from CrossQ, from JANAC, what kind of additional support can they get to help them build quality into their operations? Let's say, for example, what would be some of your thoughts as to how they can get that kind of support? Mr. Farquharson, let's start with you. 60 seconds.
Sure, thank you. So we are looking to help the Bureau of Standards in various initiatives. As a matter of fact, right now we have started an engagement to help them to get the other lab, the chemistry lab accredited. We are looking for sponsorship to support the capacity building of a metrology unit. We are looking for support to help in another quality management system certification training, looking at helping to develop a quality infrastructure training course online that person can go online and do this course. And we're looking to help with development of a laboratory policy as soon as we can identify and funding and facilitate these activities. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Castell, same question for you.
Okay, here at the JANAC, we have what we call a pre-accreditation approval program that we call PAP. And it provides a pathway to accreditation with no professional fees to laboratories, inspection bodies, and certification bodies in the CARICOM member states. So this pre-assessment process is really a process where you can get the JANAC to come into your organization. This is after you have applied and you have paid your application fee. We will come into your organization and we will give you something like a preliminary assessment, so to speak. In one day, we will look at your system and we will give you an idea of your readiness for accreditation. Now, clients have found our pre-assessment process instrumental in helping them to identify and to address potential gaps in their quality management system while they are pursuing accreditation to the relevant standard. In addition, we have training, a series of technical training courses that we offer, which provides training solutions to help to support professionals who want to develop their quality knowledge and to help their businesses to understand the requirements of the standard so that they can be better ready for accreditation. Of course, our course details are on our website. As I said before, www.janac.gov.jm, and we also provide special group rates for groups of 2 or more persons.
And let's take it from a local standpoint, Ms. Casimir.
Okay. So, Mr. Fadul, as Stephen said, we have started with the accreditation process for our chemistry lab, like with the training and so that we are able to provide accredited services to our clients in that area. I would also like to encourage business owners to invest in implementation of the quality practices and the quality standards. We have done the training, we have conducted the training, we have information available. The Bureau is there for any support and advice that may be required. So let's make it happen. Help the Bureau to help you enhance our country's reputation as a provider of quality goods and services on the global market and build our market share, as Stephen said. So in essence, all I would ask is let's put all hands on deck and maintain an effective quality infrastructure and adopt a thriving quality culture on island.
A little bit over time, but it was worth the information and, of course, the education right here on Standards in the Spotlight. The topic tonight, quality assurance, Dominica's quality infrastructure. Our guests tonight were Ms. Caren Casimir, Technical Officer, Quality Management Systems at the Dominica Bureau of Standards, Mr. Stephen Farquharson, Technical Officer for Accreditation and Conformity Assessment, CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, or CROSQ. And joining us from Jamaica, Dr. Yvette Castell, Acting Chief Executive Officer of Jamaica's National Agency for Accreditation, or JANAC. All three guests, thank you very much for joining us right here on Standards in the Spotlight. This wraps up this episode of Standards in the Spotlight. Thank you very much to our guests. I say good night to you before my final remarks. Good evening to each one of you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much and have a great night.
Yeah.
Thank you too, Joseph. All the best.
Thank you very much. And we've come to the end of this program right here. Thank you all for joining us right here. These valuable insights, quality infrastructure, and accreditation, of course, very critical to sustainable growth of our local businesses, our economy as a whole. For me personally, and I'm not just saying that, but I actually learned a lot tonight. I learned a lot. I hope you, the listeners, and of course, who are also listening to us on our YouTube and Facebook page, also learned as much as I did. You can always replay the episode on our Facebook and YouTube page. For those of you listening, I would encourage you to reach out to the Bureau if you'd like more information on what you heard tonight, or just general information on standards. You can also stay updated to their products, services, upcoming activities, events. You can check out their website. It's www.dominicastandards.org. You can also follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and of course the name to look for is Dominica Bureau. Please give them a call as well. Give us a call at the Bureau of Standards. You can call us at 235-1592. You can send us an email at info@dominicastandards.org. Until next time, I have been your host. My name is Joseph Fado, signing off on this episode of Standards in the Spotlight. Please stay safe, and remember, quality is everybody's business. Good night.